What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is New Year's Day 2023. So I hope everybody out there had an extremely safe and responsible New Year's Eve. And to kick off the new year here on the channel, I am reviewing a beer that has become a tradition on January 1st each year to review, and it comes from the Anchor Brewing Company, and they're out of San Francisco, California, and this is their Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, our special ale, the 2022 release. So they're calling this one an ale with natural flavors that comes in at 7.2% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This bottle is just under 4.5 months old. So this is the third time I am reviewing this beer on January 1st. And going forward, it's going to be one that every single New Year's Day I will be reviewing. Why? Because they change the recipe every single year with this beer, and they also change the label. They always have a new tree on the label. This year's tree is the blue gum tree, aka the Eucalyptus globulus. And that's funny because I have seen a couple reviews of this beer this holiday season, and a lot of people said it had like a very piney spruce tip eucalyptus kind of feel to it, almost minty to some degree. So it kind of makes sense they're using the tree on the label. They do have a spiel on the neck here that I will read at the end if I remember. It always changes. It's just like the recipe. They have a little, a couple sentences about this year's release and whatnot, which I always find interesting and informative. So we will read that one if I remember. So yeah, I always enjoy this one. I love the fact they change the recipe every single year. And yeah, I always use this glass as well. Now, one thing I will say right off the rip with this beer, 100%. Now, I don't know how it's going to look on camera, but in person, I can say that the last couple times I've had this one, it had a lighter look to it. It's going to probably look maybe not pitch black, but like a very dark brown on camera. In person, yeah, it's a dark brown. The last couple times I had it, it almost looked like a stouter porter. It had like a blackish look to it. This looks like a brown ale or like a Scotch ale or something. Very deep, dark brown, almost kind of like a deep caramel color. Lighter here at the bottom, almost orange copper tones. Has about a finger of a toffee colored head, very creamy looking. Yeah, I'll say right now, this looks lighter than past years, and I did not anticipate that. So let's get a nose. I get what people are saying. It's minty. To me, it's more minty than like sprucey or like piney. It's definitely the eucalyptus to some degree. But it's not over top. It's not like toothpaste or something, but it definitely has like a slight minty vibe to it. Underneath it, I'm getting a lot of like brown sugar, kind of like toasted brown bread, caramel toffee, sweeter kind of nose to it. But this is kind of interesting too. In addition to that minty kind of note, I'm getting almost like a very big herbaceous kind of like, I don't know, like a botanical type of thing going on here, like very floral-esque. There's almost like a rye spiciness happening. Wow, this smells way different than any other year that I've had in recent memory. It almost smells like a spiced brown ale. Wow, it smells so unique. Like, I can't say off the top of the dome piece that I've smelled a beer like this in recent memory that is so distinctive and unique. Yeah, it's floral, botanical or herbaceous. There's a rye kind of thing going on. I'd imagine those are coming from the hops. The thing is their recipe every year is like top secret. You never know. So there could be actual adjuncts. They say ale with natural flavors. Those natural flavors could be a ton of different things. Almost a vanilla-esque kind of tinge to it as well. A little bit of like a light, like Cokers. Hopefully not Cokers. I said light Cokers. Light, I wanted to say a baker's chocolate or like cocoa powder, so I just like said Cokers. But yeah, it smells like light Cokers. The fuck is light Cokers? I have no idea. Coca-Cola maybe? I don't know. Anyway, it smells very unique. Like this is just distinctive. Like distinctive in that like I have never smelled anything like this, and if I had, smelled this beer and someone put it in front of me, I'd be like, yeah, it smells like 2022, our special ale from Anchors. Like it, yeah. Anyway, cheers everybody. Happy New Year, and hopefully 2023 is a fantastic year. Cheers. That is so different than any other year. Like, I don't know how many times I can tell you this. It almost has like a black licorice, anise kind of feel to it. Yeah, very herbaceous, like I said, botanicals, floral, rye spice. Wow, it's so different, man. Body in this medium, maybe a touch over medium, appropriate 7.2%. The mouthfeel, while it's carbonated, lets you know it's a beer, has a nice smoothness on the palate as well, a little bit of a touch of creaminess. Right at the tip of the tongue, though, that's where the malt hits. Again, it's caramel, toffee, molasses, brown sugar, toasted brown bread, all wrapped into one. But as it transitions through the palate, about a third of the way, maybe halfway through, that's where this beer changes in such a radical way that it's kind of just blowing my mind to some degree. It's not necessarily fantastic flavors, but again, it's unique, and I'll give them credit for that. There's a rye spice kind of component to this one. There's a floral characteristic. Again, botanicals, herbaceous, very herbaceous. And that minty eucalyptus kind of feeling, definitely present. It finishes more with that minty kind of like aftertaste, almost like you took a sip of like a brown ale and maybe you just got done brushing your teeth, but not like crazy minty toothpaste, just like slight. It finishes semi to full on dry with a mild to moderate bitterness, and the bitterness has like, again, like an herbaceous kind of, earthy kind of feel to the bitterness. 7.2%, a little warming in the chest, nothing on the palate. I can't get over that. There's also like an aftertaste of like, again, a black licorice. This is fun. This beer is fun. It's different. It's unique. It's definitely not my favorite from their vintages. Like, this might be the least favorite that I've had from them since I originally had it back in, I want to say it was 2010 or 11. The first time I had this one, it was so pine forward to me, spruce tippy, whatever. And I didn't like that. That was, again, 10 to 11 years ago. It took me a while to warm up to that and get acclimated to flavor notes like that. It just turned me off of this beer for many years. But every single time I've had this, it's been different. Again, it's been darker. It had more like a winter warmer stout porter vibe. This is the first time I can remember it having more of a brown ale kind of vibe. And they said back in the day when they first released this one, because I think this is the 48th version of this, it started off, I think, as a pale ale, and it kind of morphed into a darker kind of winter warmer. Yeah, I'd want a little bit more sweetness out of this because I think it transitions into that herbaceous rye, licorice, minty kind of vibe too quickly for my liking. I'd like a little bit more of like the first half to 2/3 of the palate be more like malt driven. You get that like the first, say, third of the palate as opposed to half. So I want a little bit more sweetness here. And I just think it's a little bit too herbaceous. I like rye, I like black licorice. The minty thing I could do without, but like I like herbaceous things, especially like in hop forward, like hazies now. But I think it's a little bit too much for me. That said, I do enjoy this one. It's just not my favorite recent vintage. So, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, especially on the 2022 release from Anchor. I am going to give this one for me personally, again, this is all personal preference, I'm going to give this a low 4 out of 5 and go 3.9 out of 5. I think that's where this one lands for me. It's the easiest way to describe this. If somebody asked me, like, what do you think about this year's Anchor Christmas Ale or Anchor our special ale, I would say to me, without question, it is the most unique, different vintage from them that I've had in a long time. And if you like a very herbaceous, floral, botanical, minty kind of beer, like this is you all day. It's just might be a little bit too rich for me to really love this beer. I do like it. It's fun. I'm gonna drink the rest of that and enjoy it. So price point availability, I paid $2.39 for that bottle. I think bottles in my neck of the woods here in Buffalo, New York, $13 to $14 for a 6-pack. So that's fine for what it is. And availability, I have no idea with Anchor. We used to see Anchor all the time when I first started drinking craft beer back in late 2009, early 2010. Fast forward, 13, 14 years later, and we just don't see them as much as we used to. It's tough to even find like the Anchor Porter for me. This shows up, a couple other seasonals. I would like to see some of their older like year-round offerings, available here, and we just don't see them all that much. So, you get the steam beer, Anchor Porter should be like a staple, and I should always see that, and it's just not the case. So anyway, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about any prior vintage. Did you have this year's vintage? What do you think about it? Did you get like the big botanical, herbaceous, licorice, minty kind of vibe that I'm getting? Because like in prior years, the last couple times I reviewed this one, I got like, what did I get? I got like jammy berry, like boysenberry. It had like, a lot more chocolate and kind of like darker beer qualities to it. This one's more like brown ale-esque, but like spiced with herbs and just different shit. Like I wish I knew. Oh yeah, let me read the top here. Whatever. And I said this in last year's review too. I was like, it's a super long review. Let's read the end. So most of you are gonna click out by now. If not though, put in the comment section, put something like I hate black licorice or I love black licorice. Either way, one of the two, depending on what your mood is. Put it in there. And I'll let you know, it'll let me know that you watch this one to the end. I did this with a recent video and it was cool to see about a half dozen people actually watched the end. Anyway, it says this is the 48th, and I hate how you have to keep on realizing the 48th from the brewers, or the 48th, our special ale from the brewers at Anchor. This ale, made with natural flavors, features a new recipe and tree every year, but the intent with which we offer it is the same. Joy and celebration of the newness of life. Trees symbolize the winter solstice when the earth with its seasons appears born anew. And that's like, I think they have that spiel every single year on the neck here. Here's the new thing. It says, Mary Ellen Pleasant planted blue gum trees in front of her San Francisco home in the 1800s. The home is long gone, but her landmark trees remain a living tribute to the mother of civil rights in California. And again, that is the blue gum tree. And like I said, this is a yearly tradition now on my channel. Every single New Year's Day, we will review this beer. It always changes, assuming I can always get this beer every year, and I hope that never changes because it's always fun to review it. So thanks to everybody for a fantastic 2022. I brought back the channel in late 2021, but 2022, gained more subs, more views, more friends, more interaction, a lot of people commenting. And in 2023, one of the things that I want to make possible on my channel is more interaction with you guys. I have a couple ideas for that. Hopefully I get them off the ground in the first month or two of the year. And on top of that, I want to continue to kind of variety is the spice of life, and I'm going to continue to do the shelfie beer reviews and try to mix my channel up, do more imported beers, Belgian, German, and English beers mostly, but just imported beers, maybe like one a week. If I could do one a week, you're talking about 52 different imported beers over the course of the year, which would be really cool. It's a shame that I haven't reviewed as many Belgian, German, and English beers as I should, because that's what I kind of cut my teeth on getting into craft beer and trying it out. So yeah, anyway, thank you for everything in 2022, and hopefully 2023 is a fantastic year filled with a ton of awesome and amazing beers and sharing them with friends, family, and the whole nine. So thanks to everybody out there for the support. Hopefully you had a great holiday season, and until the next one, cheers. Oh yeah, 7.2%. Like I said, a little warming in chest, but it's a little bit of a sipper, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of this one. Cheers.